Well, one thing I would ask everybody to do is to buy in on a veteran receiver. People are dismissing them. You know what I'm saying? Like, you see me walk through a clubhouse wearing a shirt like this, you're like, this guy can't play golf. Then I'm out there piping 300-yard drives, and who's getting the last lap? And I think similarly, people are looking dismissively towards some of these veteran wide receivers. They love drafting the rookies and everything like that, but there are some really good ones out there. We've seen Robbie Anderson step up in the last couple of years, especially this season with Sam Darnold. Corey Davis has run 13 routes this preseason. He's had 10 targets. That's an insane production value. And Marvin Jones Jr. is another guy. Trevor Lawrence, we're going to see him tonight. He's going to target him an awful lot. And then last year, one of the don'ts that I would tell people, don't worry too much about what happened in last year's playoffs. And I think the most glaring example is Cam Akers. His ADP before his injury was out of control based on 3 games in the playoffs. And we kind of ignored what Darrell Henderson did through the majority of last season. So when you're doing your draft, like, project people who are going to be good this season, and then don't worry about a pop in 3 games. And then what I guess I'm basically saying is draft Darrell Henderson. That is my, so don't ignore. Sorry, this is a don't. Don't ignore Darrell Henderson, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, so when I look at the do's and the don'ts, I pretty much just try to follow what's going on in the league. And what's going on in the league is that these top end tight ends, the guys who catch passes, they're really separating themselves from the other tight ends when it comes to figuring out who has the most value and who don't. So the do is to get your tight end, even if it feels early, even if it feels first round early, because the later guys are really not going to help you out. Now, for my don't overdraft your quarterback. When it comes to quarterback play, yes, quarterbacks are the most valuable position. Yes, this is turning into a very heavy passing league. Every year we see an uptick in passing, but they don't really separate themselves in terms of the number of points the quarterbacks get. So you don't need to go early. Go get those tight ends, go get those running backs, go get those veteran wide receivers, and then get your quarterback in a little bit later round.
All right, let's change the methodology then. Let's talk about startup dynasty leagues. You get deeper teams. In most cases, you get to keep your whole roster from year to year. Rank, give us a do and a don't.
My biggest do is to target Kyle Pitts in a dynasty league. Obviously, you're going to want a quarterback first and foremost. And I did a recent dynasty startup, got a quarterback. I got Justin Herbert out of the way, and it's a super flex league. I still took Kyle Pitts. And the reason is what Cynthia was talking about, is how valuable the tight end position is. And if Kyle Pitts projects to be the player that we expect him to be, well, imagine getting in on the ground floor of Travis Kelce and never having to give him up. That's why I would target him immediately. But at the same time, my biggest don't is don't forget about winning this year. Too many times people get enamored with rookies and they want to project for their 2025 rosters. They're massaging things around. It's like, well, why burn 2021? Why not try to go out there and field a competitive team that can win this season, which goes back to a previous point I was making. That's when you can go out and get a lot of veteran players, make a push for this year. Just make sure you have some young guys for the future.
Okay, so my do actually falls in line with what Rank was saying before about these rookies. But I'm not talking about Kyle Pitts because we already know he's going to be a starter. But look to your later rounds of your draft to get one of these rookies who might not be a day one starter, like a quarterback. And then you could potentially use him in future years, like maybe Justin Fields. Rank, that one's for you. But ultimately, getting those rookies early so that you can hang on to them, like you said, buying it on the ground floor. And then to me, don't be too in love with wide receivers too soon, because let's face it, this league with all the passing, the wide receivers in the middle kind of don't differentiate, just like I said about the quarterbacks. So when it comes to wide receivers, don't fall in love with one, fall in love with the projection and kind of see where it ranks in there.